Hey, I'm Riley, and this is the Superhuman Podcast. At Superhuman, we bring you cutting edge insights from experts and high performers to help you unlock your body's full potential, supercharge your mind, and achieve more with less effort. Do you want to fix nagging health issues, boost productivity, spark genius ideas, master stress, build better relationships, and increase your income? It all starts with optimizing your inner machinery. My guest today is Ben Strange. Ben is a trusted facilitator and connector of the global business world. With deep entrepreneurial roots and a no-fluff approach, he's known for bringing the right people to the table, whether it's family offices, investors, or top-tier decision makers. And for the past 8 years, he's built strong reciprocal relationships with single-family offices, HNWIs, UHNWIs, by focusing on trust, access, and real results. He excels at bridging industries and personalities to spark strategic conversations and close complex deals. He also invests in rare collectibles, coins, bitcoins, S&P, minerals, alternative assets, giving him a unique approach across all markets. And really at his core, he's a straight shooter, deal maker, driven by integrity and execution. Ben, welcome to the show.
How are you, man? Good to
Yeah,
be
going
here.
pretty good over here. Yeah,
You
likewise.
do
It's
sound like like a Gordon Gecko, but and I'm very grateful. I'm grateful to that, but it's still a long way to go in life, and always learning. So yeah.
that that's what that and that's the thing, and that's what makes great podcast guests, people who are always, you know, learning and living and experiencing new things and always living on the edge. And we talked before the show and even prior conversations, and you seem to have a really interesting story. So I guess to start, what was your story into the entrepreneurial world?
Well, I mean, a lot of people I meet in my world came into this world the conventional route. They, got top grades in school. Many of them went to top schools and, went to great universities and did the whole traditional route. I didn't. I came into this world not knowing really what I wanted to achieve, really. Other than that, I knew what I was good at, and I've always been good at building trust and maintaining trust and respect, and that is the most important thing. And I've had some involvements in some startups about 10 years ago. But during that time, what I noticed is that I'd managed to develop a great ecosystem of relationships with some pretty influential people, be it strategic partners and people with a huge amount of, not always a huge amount of capital to allocate, but these people were high net worth individuals. But I never went into this because they were high net worth individuals. I like to break down barriers by remaining, humble and down to earth. So that ecosystem just suddenly expanded massively, and I didn't know really what I wanted to do with it, but that's how it sort of began. I didn't I didn't go to work for an investment bank. A lot of people go and work for an investment bank and then they get a massive ecosystem from that, right? You can take away the people you meet through that. That's a great privilege. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's a lot harder to actually go out there and, go and knock on doors, pick up the phone, cold call, write letters. And that's really tough. And so I'm not bigging myself up here, but that's something I got used to doing. And, pissing people off, sometimes you have to.
Yeah,
So, that's how it all sort of began as such.
very cool. Were you shy when you first started into this, or did you find you're a natural born extrovert?
No, I mean, I tell you where it all began. I was working in a clothes shop, actually, because I've always loved clothes in London. And this was back in probably 2007. And at that point, look, I'd had my sort of teething problems. I left school very early and wanted to just go and earn some money. And a lot of people were in my ear at the time, people in my age group saying, you will fail if you don't go to university. You will fail. You will not go anywhere. Everyone will laugh at you. That was a real fuel for me. That was like a rocket fuel to prove people wrong. And that's what I've been doing ever since. So, I loved. All I knew is what I loved. I'm a people person. I like learning about. If I see a person with a lovely car, and this is not a British trait. I'll be honest. I'm about to say something that isn't very British, which is I'll go up to that person. Even now, even if I could afford that car, I will still talk to that person and try and learn from them and get their advice on and where they go and how they got there. And that again, you can take it, can't you? And you can add it to your own thing in life. And yeah, so
Your own repertoire and all the tools that you need. And it's really interesting. You say people going out to investment banking and things like that, because I have some friends who have done this, and you find, it's the tried and true path. It's laid out for you. Maybe your dad was in that industry and you take it over, or you just follow his footsteps. And I just found a lot of my friends, I mean, not to degrade anyone within that industry, but they were just a little bit soft. And I feel like other people who were more taking the entrepreneurial route, they really had to roll up their sleeves, be in the front line of the trenches. And through that, you develop a lot of character along the way. And where they are now, at the time it wasn't fun, but now you just see what they've been through and what they can handle again.
100%. Look, there is a well-known saying that my grandfather taught me, which is, and he was in the trenches, not quite, well, not World War One, but he was in World War Two, and he was a tough guy. And he taught me, hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men, and weak men create hard times. So it goes around in a circle. And if you have something this is why I like your podcast, because if you have something too good, too much, too often, you can become complacent and you get used to that. And my grandfather told me once, he said, look, if I had a warm shower, he said that was a privilege. It was a privilege because they didn't even have hot water, running hot water really when they were young. And so people ask, well, why was that generation so tough? It's because they didn't have it too good. They didn't have it too good. They really understood pain and it really shaped them. And they didn't complain and they got up, and if they fell over, they just got back on with it. So that really went into business and politics, didn't it? Because if you're getting into business, that really helps that you're not sort of too sensitive, I suppose. And it really goes into what your podcast is all about, because the name is it does what it says on the tin, right? So you're right. Yeah, a big believer.
Yeah. It's so true. My grandpa was the same way, and a lot of other around our generation were probably the same way too. And there's a lot of we have AI technology over here, and then we have the mindset of that generation over there, and we kind of fall somewhere in the middle. So I think to bring elements of this older generation that a lot of people are losing, I think it's really important today more than ever, because everything is so easy and to gain access to.
100%, and I don't think we have to be worried about that not coming back though, because I do think people are learning now. They have so many different ways to access information. There's not just 4 channels on TV anymore. All these big outlets have become almost redundant in terms of driving the narrative, because people can really get, they can come to a podcast like yours and then they can learn where things may be going wrong. So I think the information that's available to people specifically on YouTube, and I'm not a believer of social media as such. That's just me personally. I don't like it. But that is the new TV now, isn't it? YouTube and Spotify and all of them. So.
Yeah, it's really easy to get access to. And, for somebody who is in, maybe they're around your age when you were first getting started within, maybe it was your early 20s, late teenager, what would you recommend they do? Would you say go to school, or would you say start your own thing at all costs, even if it comes with pain?
Yeah, well, I think it depends on what you want to do. I certainly want a surgeon opening me up who hasn't been to university. Preferably someone who's got a first from Oxford or, one of the big medical schools. I want people to know what the hell they're doing when they're opening me up. But in business, and I won't go into this too much because who am I to say this? All the biggest businessmen in the world say this all the time. If you're good at something, if you're naturally good at selling, that is a talent. You can hire someone who has got the best university college degree and they're very academic, but put them in a sales role they fall flat on their face. So if you're naturally good at something and you can close deals and you can pick up the phone, you're not shy of actually going up to someone in a room and tapping them on the shoulder and saying, "Hi, I'm Riley or Ben," then, that's something that, you can use these basic skills to build something. And it isn't rocket science. It's a cliche, that, but it is true. I mean, business is not rocket science. Selling, drive, determination, pure octane energy, as they call it. People who just go, 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 go until they get there. If you're one of those people, then I would say don't waste your time going to get a degree now. Build your business, and then later on, once you've earned a little bit of money, go back to school and pick up the books and do that history degree or whatever you want to do. I'm not saying people should not go to university, but I'm saying in business, it is not going to. Hang on a minute. Can you hear me, Riley?
Yeah, it said you had red bars for a second, but I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've had some issues with the internet connection. Yeah, so I mean, look, I believe that if you've seen it, we've all seen it, haven't we? Someone going from humble beginnings into business. There is a plumber in this country. I'm going to call him a plumber. His name's Charlie Mullins, and you should have a look at this guy. He comes from nothing. He built a plumbing business called Pimlico Plumbers. I've met him. He sold it a couple of years ago for like 100 million, I believe. This guy, he's now living in Monaco, actually, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. He doesn't know me, but I have met him. This guy is a pure example of someone who can just build a business. So I love history, for example. I love the Tudor era in England. I like the whole Henry VIII, Elizabeth I, and I am obsessed with that era. And but it's not going to give me a living. So I would encourage young people to, as they say, do what you love. I mean, we're both young, aren't we? We're still young. It's never too late, and never give up, and use all of the people who are in your ear telling you that if you don't go to college, you're going to fail. Those people are the ones who are, they want to see you fail anyways.
Yeah. And isn't it interesting? You'll see a lot of the self-made billionaires, and they're the ones that when they were younger went to door knocking, like in really cold climates and everything. Like like that's an attestation to that character development. What other areas of sales do you find that goes into life, personal, business, that you've seen with yourself or other people you know?
Well, yeah, it's not all about money. Money is I don't like it when billionaires and very rich people say, "Oh, don't do it for the money." I mean, yeah, okay, mate, give away your money and then tell me the same thing, okay? They say this whole, "Oh, don't do it for the money." Well, money plays a big part in what they do, because if it didn't, then why not give away all your money? You know what I mean? But it's also, I think there's different sides of entrepreneurialism. There's also social entrepreneurialism, where people are so good with other people, and they go to events and they're so good at, connecting with people and adding value socially and building their repertoire that way. So I think this has been said before, Riley, where even if someone hasn't made a fortune, that doesn't mean they're not successful in different areas. So, when I started Strange Investments at that time, it was not a monetized business. It wasn't earning anything. And so although I had money at the time and was sort of starting a new company, Strange Investments was really just an idea, but I still had that incredible ecosystem. And that was worth a lot of money. So now it's monetized, of course, and now it's a company that really functions. But you have to start from somewhere. You fall over and you have to get back up and keep moving forward.
What have you noticed for becoming successful, building relationships, sales? Are there any universal principles that's helped you along the way? Could be a tactic, could be a mindset.
Yeah, 100%. Down to earth, down to earth, 100% humble. I've met some incredibly stuck up, snobby people in this world. Ironically, Riley, I've met some super, super, super wealthy individuals who are down to earth. They're actually very nice people. I've met some wealthy individuals who are far less way down the pecking order, who are unbelievably disingenuous. I would say down to earth, remaining down to earth breaks down barriers, because if you're a straight talker, people know there's no other side to you. They know where you stand. So I said I wasn't going to get into politics, but let's just mention Trump for 1 minute. President Trump, even if you hate the guy and even if people don't like him, at least they know if they piss him off, they know he's going to hit them back and they know where they stand. And there's a lot to be said for that. There's a lot to be said for that, because I want to know where I stand with someone. So I've taken an approach in my life where, of course, we all grow up, we all make mistakes. Maybe we didn't start out as down to earth, because we all have a dream. And sometimes that dream takes us on a journey, right? We're going on a kind of a trip. And when you're young, you have to learn that. But when I got slightly a bit older, into my late 20s, I thought to myself, wow, if you just keep it real and keep it humble and just be real and speak your mind, people will drop their guards enough for you to be able to build a relationship with them. And the one thing that wealthy people have to be careful of is that sometimes they don't know who their real friends are. And I have made it a priority of mine to tell any of my clients or friends who are extremely wealthy what I think. If I think they're making a mistake, I'll just tell them to their face. I don't care. I've actually had, I'll just tell a quick story. I'm going on a trip here, but I will just say one thing. There was a friend of mine, and his name was Darryl Laws, and he owned a company called German Street Capital Partners. Darryl's no longer with us, but Darryl was a very successful investor. He lived over in Beverly Hills, and Darryl was a client of mine. And during this time, we had a big falling out, and he didn't want me to tell him where I thought he was going wrong in the pitches on the calls. And he was like, how dare you say that to me? I don't know what he tells me. I've been doing this for years. And then I said, well, I don't care. Come back down to earth. Don't give me the whole I'm too good to be criticized thing. Come back down to earth. I told him what I thought. And for that reason, he didn't like it, but then he phoned me up 2 days later and said, you know what? I really know that I can trust you now, because you're going to tell me where I've gone wrong. Even though I'm 70, even though I didn't like what you said, I respect you for saying it, because you're not a yes man, and you're not just going to tell me I'm right, even if maybe I'm wrong. Mm-hmm. And so that was a huge wake-up call for me. This was a couple of years ago now, and
big lesson.
We just ended so well. When he had a heart attack, unfortunately, he went over to Hawaii with his family. He had a very young family, and he was on holiday. He actually sent me a text with a photo. He looked fantastic, but very red in the face, and then he woke up the next morning, and then he went to the bathroom to shave. And he had a massive heart attack and just died right there.
My God.
And he was a very good friend of mine. But anyway, I digress. What I mean is that really, it earned me dividends. Do you know what I mean? Having that sort of telling him where I thought he'd never had that before. People were like, oh, yes, Darryl, even though he was so wrong, maybe.
Sure.
So that really is the tactic. I won't call it a tactic, but I think it's a part of life that is exceedingly important, to remain humble and treat people equally. Rich, poor, doesn't matter. The cleaners in the hotels who clean the rooms are no less valuable than the men and women who are employing them. Do you know what I mean? And some people just sit in an ivory tower.
Totally. They're up in theory land. So returning to earth, that's a very good slogan. I think it's so true. Especially now, you're seeing a lot of these online coaches come up, and there's all these courses they'll take about online sales tactics, but there's no grounding to them, and they'll just talk about the words and the script and trying to pitch people things, but they're missing that energy, that je ne sais quoi, that stuff in between the lines. That when they have that, you don't even have to worry about script, because I forget what that quote is, but what you do is so strong, I don't hear a word you say or something, but people can feel that vibration from you that's coming through on all levels. So I think that's really true. It's a little bit what you're saying, like Simon Cowell or the chef from Hell's Kitchen. They have a similar attitude too.
That's so true. And it's interesting you mention that. I saw the interview with Simon Cowell last year or the year before, and he is I actually know his brother, Nick, a little bit. and don't know him that well, but we know each other well enough to say hello to each other. And Nick is the same. His brother Nick made a huge amount of money in real estate and property in London. But one thing I like about him is that he is quite a down to earth guy, and Simon is the same way. And actually, though, when you speak to them, you feel like you're talking to the same brother. They sound exactly the same.
Same
It's
person.
really funny.
That's
But
hilarious.
anyway, but no, it's Simon Cowell, like you say, Gordon Ramsay, same thing.
Gordon Ramsay. Yep.
Yeah.
So true. So when people are just starting to make money in their business, we have some listeners that have some pretty successful startups. Now they want to start investing their money. There's a lot of ways you can go with this, but would you suggest, and I know you're not going to be financial advice here, but is crypto something to look at? Getting into real estate, getting into the S&P 500? Where's your overall philosophy?
Oh, that's sailing close to the wind here. I don't want to come across like I'm giving anybody advice. I can say what I like doing personally. I think these S&P 500, when Jack Bogle created the S&P, Jack Bogle was doing something that Wall Street obviously hated. He was making the S&P available to the common man and woman with one click, one buy. You could buy the whole S&P 500 with one click, whereas before you had to buy each of the 500 companies individually. That the people obviously the mainstream media don't want the average man out there and the average woman out there to know this. So there's still a lot of people out there who don't know how lucky they are to be able to buy the S&P 500 on Vanguard for just, even if you can only afford £200 or £100 a month. When you look at the since it began, it's like 10% average over time. I think Warren Buffett said it beats every hedge fund out there. So I instead of trying to speculate, because I'm no speculator, I'm no very it's like golf. Don't compete in golf. Think unless you really can make it. It's like don't speculate unless you really know what you're doing, because it's. I think, as Warren Buffett said, you lose money when you sell. So. Yeah. When the whole tariff thing came along, I was just before that, I was up 25%. And then now, since the tariff thing, when the tariff thing came in, I was down 10%. So I went from plus 25 down to minus 10. And now I'm back up at plus 10 again.
Well, there you
go. Because, it's compounding, and I don't plan to sell it for another 30 years. I'll be in my late 60s when I start enjoying my S&P 500 investment. So, and that's just the way I want to do it, because it's long term. So I would advise, don't say advise. I'm not advising anyone. No, I would say what I like to do myself is I like to invest in the S&P 500, and I invest in crypto. I'm actually a newcomer to that. I am now definitely interested more long term in that. Hang on a minute, we've got another connecting problem. Can you hear me, Riley? Oh, shit, stupid internet. So sorry about that.
No worries. No worries.
It's terrible. The connection is terrible here. So it's if it goes
That's
again,
right.
I'm trying to get a consistent connection. But anyway, where were we?
No worries. I think you cut off when you said advice, and you said I shouldn't be saying that. So
no, I didn't.
Yeah, however you want to finish that.
I'm not. No.
Yeah, I'm not.
No, yeah. So I mean, for me personally, I like to put my money into the S&P 500, and in terms of speculation, unless I really know what I'm talking about, the odd bit of speculation here and there. Jordan Belfort, I really liked his recent book, which is I believe it's called The Wolf of Investing, where he talks about you can do better than the average hedge fund with the S&P 500 if you are consistent. Crypto, I really getting more and more interested in it now, and over in England, all the banks are closing their branches, and they seem to, I believe personally that having an appointment with your bank manager is no less important than having an appointment with your doctor, because money is livelihood. So they're closing their branches, and people being, they have a lot of control over your life in the banks. So I think crypto is you never know how that. I think that's the who knows? I don't know, but I'm interested in it. And but yeah, that's what I'm interested in investment wise. And then I like to buy tangible assets here and there, things that I really like, and that varies.
Yes, I'm sure. I think I've heard before it's sort of 25% stocks, bonds, gold, and one other one. But then you save like 3% for the speculative, and it doesn't matter if you lose it because you'll just see what happens. But more and more of that, I think, could go towards crypto.
Yeah, I mean, only what I think it's really important, only what you can afford, and it
Yeah.
doesn't know what you're earning. But yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting topic. But a lot of people still make mistakes with it, don't they? And they sort of lose a lot of money by panicking because they don't understand. It goes up and down. It's a living organism. It's
Yeah. A
like
real life roller
yeah.
coaster. Yeah. This is the Superhuman Podcast, and we've had health experts on here. We've had people who smoke and drink every day. What is your version of becoming superhuman, or how are you doing
Well,
that day to day?
I
It
love
doesn't
that.
have to be a routine, but you can interpret it however way you want.
I love pain, and that sounds
Okay.
pretty crazy. I mean, I like being outside my comfort zone. I started doing ice baths. Um,
Ice pass.
yeah, I started doing them like 4 years ago, and my pain threshold has now increased incredibly. Now I can jump in the sea in the winter, and although of course it's cold, because my body's now acclimatized to it. The more you step outside of your comfort zone, the more your pain threshold increases mentally and physically, and the stronger you become. And it's helped me in all areas of my life, business. It's helped me. Can you hear me, by the way, Riley?
Yeah, cut out
Yeah.
there for a second, but I can hear you now.
Oh, here we go again. Hang on. I'm off again. Can you hear me now?
I can, yeah.
Okay, sorry. Because it came up with trying to connect. I like doing the whole ice bath thing. I've been doing that now a long time. A surfer called Laird Hamilton, the big wave surfer. He inspired me to get into doing it. Um, and I eat all organic, 100% organic. And organic is just a fancy name for food that's not been sprayed with poison. I think that really helps with brain function. Obviously, you just want a well-rounded performance, and so all my diet's organic. So I like the pain of going into the ice cold and then getting out, and it's a great feeling. And that's helped me in all areas of my life. Brain function. I think it's really good for focus. Apparently, they're learning all sorts of things about ice now, and it's really called heat therapy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Laird Hamilton does it. He goes into he's got a sauna, and he puts the sauna right up full heat, stays in there for, well, I think he's got an incredible record of being in the sauna, and then he gets out the sauna and jumps straight into minus whatever it is, and it's going from one
Yeah.
to another. So it's basically
Contrast.
shocking your body, and so that's my superhuman thing, and I really believe it makes anybody superhuman, that kind of thing, because it's I'm not superhuman, but I just love that. So yeah, that's part of it, and having discipline. I think, Riley. I think being up early in the morning is a great feeling, and I have a lot of cranberry teas and sort of herbal teas as well. Um, I like to stock up on them because they're very good for an early wake up call. And I like training and working out. What else? Trying to think. What else would help superhuman lifestyle? Yeah, I think my main thing is wild swimming and actually being out in the. I like going to the Lake District over in the UK. And the Lake District has got very ancient lakes and rivers, and also in the Peak District as well. But you've got these ancient lakes, and they are freezing. I mean, it's it's the cleanest water in the world. I mean, if you drank it, it's so pure. And these rivers have forged over millions of years. It's a bit like Lord of the Rings. It comes down a massive mountain. It's beautiful, and then forms. It goes through these lakes. These rivers go straight through these rocks, and people go to the Lake District and they swim in these areas. And I went there with my fiance a couple of years ago now, and that was the coldest I've ever experienced in my life.
I'm sure.
It was really cold.
That sounds really, really cold. Yeah, Lord of the Rings cold.
Yeah. So yeah, but we're trying to get stronger, aren't we? So yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's one way to bring you down to earth. And I've heard somebody else say business problems are personal problems. And if you can make these personal problems go away when your body's working better, you're clear of mind, you're just going to be in a better mood. And with that better vibration, I think people want to be around you more and maybe do more deals with you. Love it, Ben. Any last words of wisdom today before we close it off?
Well, just thank you to you, really. I think, I love the name of your podcast. It's these sorts of podcasts really help people, I think, and it's very inspiring. So yeah, I just say don't ever give up, and keep going.
Amazing. Thanks so much for coming on today. I've learned a lot. I'm sure our listeners did too. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on the LinkedIn. I don't do social media. I've not been on it now since I was probably about 20. So it's been a long time since I was on any social media. But I'm on LinkedIn. My company website is Strange Investments, strange-investments.com. I'm always on the LinkedIn in a business capacity, so they can reach me on there. That's pretty much it. Yeah.
We'll put all that down in the show notes below. And all right, guys, thank you for tuning in. I hope you got a lot of value from today's episode. If you're ready to take your health and performance to the next level, you can grab our free Superhuman guide at getsuperhuman.io. Hit subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and we'll see you in the next episode. Stay superhuman.